travel fully technology based, with already moving from paper to e-tickets and barcode check-ins. We would gradually progress to a smooth technology based immigration and probably a one unique ID with all your travel details.
I believe technology plays a major role in defining the future of travel, and I'm sure in the coming years, one can travel anywhere in no time and in just a few clicks.
Flight paths to the future, travel and technology. Imagine a world where you can leave home for the airport and engage in a seamless and contactless experience until you reach your boarding gate. It's a reality that will change the face of travel around the world. Companies have developed seamless travel solutions that change every stage of the airport experience, from checking in, dropping off bags, customs checks, and boarding flights. In a similar innovative move for the future, India will refresh existing passport facilities and systems and develop new solutions to enable the issuance of e-passports and further enhance the citizen experience using biometrics, artificial intelligence, advanced data analytics, chatbots, auto response, natural language processing, and the cloud. What lies ahead in the future of travel, with cutting-edge technologies making the experience seamless, a need of the hour in the current scenario? Our panel has some interesting answers. Mr. Zubin Karkaria is Global CEO, VFS Global. Mr. Karkaria conceptualized and set up VFS Global as an outstanding example of disruptive innovation and led the company to become a global leader in its space within 4 to 5 years of its inception. Mr. Navdeep Singh Suri is a distinguished fellow at the Observer Research Foundation and co-chair of the FICCI National Committee on the Dubai Expo. He is a former diplomat and has served as India's ambassador to the UAE and Egypt and as High Commissioner to Australia. Ms. Charul Chaturvedi Jetli is the founder and managing partner of the Mighty Group UAE. The Matiti Group helps organizations become better versions of themselves. As an accomplished senior HR leader with extensive experience, she possesses a wide range of knowledge and talents that allow her to contribute towards the success of organizations across different sectors. Be inspired. Festival of Ideas. Flight paths to the future, travel and technology. Mr. Zubin Karkaria, Navdeep Singh Suri, in conversation with Charul Chaturvedi Jetli.
The synopsis of our topic today is, after these frequent disruption, extended lockdowns, the world is on the move again, right? So as per, the leadership like yourself, managing government affairs, managing international travel for, people like you and me, what is the path ahead to regain pre-pandemic momentum?
I think it works at 2-3 different levels. The governments have to progressively roll back on the restrictive frameworks that had been put into place to deal with the pandemic. We need a sense once again that travel is normal. Yes. It is not extraordinary. And the inconveniences that have been associated with international travel, in particular over the last 2 years, go back to a semblance of a return to normal. Because what we have seen in the absence of that is a lot more domestic travel and a lot less international travel taking place. And so I think, between the healthcare authorities in respective countries, the airport, immigration, all of that, you need to bring travel back to normal.
I tend to agree with the ambassador. Very key points. One of the other key points that I see is regaining the traveler's confidence. Sure. And his comfort to travel, the fear that he still has. How do we change that mindset? Also, how do we make it easy? Is it a stress to travel, or I should travel as how I used to travel in the pre-pandemic days? The third part would be technology. Technology has to play a key role, but it should not. It should be an enabler. It should not create more what you call inconvenience for the traveler. You know,
Yes.
don't make me fill up 20,000 forms before I travel or when I'm traveling back to my country.
True.
And you know, it should be on a scan or it should be portable. You know, through the respective countries' apps. So I think three things, but most important is regaining the comfort or the confidence of the traveler again.
From government perspective, what could you think would be, you know, for people here in the room and for somebody like me, could be the new normal?
So I think we've now announced for 87 countries
Yes.
that you don't need to have an RT-PCR test before you board. So that's, to me, that is the critical role of governments to communicate with each other in ways to bring travel back to normal, the restrictive frameworks that have been put in place for good reasons at that point of time, but to recognize that perhaps those are no longer needed. That's where I mean that the role of government at this point is crucial.
Considering the travel sector, Mr. Karkaria, it was one of the most impacted in the pandemic, right? So tell us about the key learnings for, let's say, an organization as big, vast, and as impactful as VFS Global. Yes.
So we were referring to SARS and the other pandemics that, you know, even during SARS or the bird flu or anything, you know, it was a dip, like a valley of death for 3 months, and then we came out of it again. But coming April or May, you know, everybody was really shocked with the impact and the disruption it caused, especially because it was very unprecedented. Nobody knew how to deal with it, how to tackle with it. It was the first time. And just the fear, you know, it just, I would say everything was just immediately stopped. And, you know, when you decide that there, you know, there is a problem coming ahead, you need to be decisive.
True.
Now, it's easier said than done that you have to take actions. So we had, what, 3,400 visa application centers worldwide. We had to shut down almost 3,200 in 3 months. We had to let go. We were 15,000 plus people. We had to let go of a lot of people because there was no light at the end of the tunnel that we would say that it would be 3 months or 4 months.
Correct.
We just couldn't keep, people at home.
Yes.
But what we did was we took some very decisive actions at the very beginning. And those actions not only helped us to, control the cost or, keep our nose above the water, but we started investing back into what would be the new future of travel.
Correct.
We started investing in technology. We did home learning for our staff. So we have almost 110,000 people joining for different courses. We had 200 courses going on. So we started investing back into technology.
True.
We started visiting how will this pandemic create new travel versions and how will we be the part of the chain, and how do we keep our staff which are sitting at home, over 10,000 people sitting at home, how do we keep them motivated and engaged with the company?
Yes.
So we took some immediate steps.
Yeah.
They were hard, but as I said, those were required.
I agree. Ambassador Suri, just continuing on that dialogue. So how does that work along with, being agile, making those bold decisions which are for the better good of, the travel industry, of business leaders like Mr. Karkaria, and for the citizens like myself?
Well, I think it would be a little ambitious for me to speak on behalf of government. But let me just say that the area that I do know and the area that I have represented in the past is the field of diplomacy.
Right.
And it's interesting to see how international diplomacy has tried to cope with the imperatives of travel restrictions. At one level, you saw for almost 2 years a lot of non-essential travel vanish off the screens. And there was a temptation amongst some analysts that do you really need to travel if you can do virtual summits? But along with the technology that has enabled us to do virtual summits, there's still that recognition that there is no substitute to personal relationships. There's no substitute to personal contact. And you also live in an era where there's a fear that super sensitive conversations between leaders taking place across those links could be hacked into by
Let's hope not.
others who are not supposed to be listening in on those conversations. And that just underscores that you do need to travel. You do need to have those personal contacts. So the restrictions had to be observed, but now there is this real need to return to those contacts that are so crucial for international diplomacy. I think there was some talk amongst analysts and thinkers that are we looking at a virtual embassy?
Oh.
So I was in a discussion on this. So my response was the day you say, beam me up, Scotty, might be the time that you are talking about virtual embassies, but nowhere anytime soon yet.
Is there anything you wish to add?
There could be a virtual embassy. It gives us more work to do.
Yes.
People have started what you call, especially in some countries, actually revolting to go back to work. Revolting in the sense, if I can do and save the commute. Now,
Yes.
it's not only in countries like India, but in other places also. Even in the UK, people commute a lot.
Yes.
You'll be surprised that they commute an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. If they could do the work from home, they would prefer to sit at home.
Yes.
But how effective or efficient is that going to be in the future? In my personal opinion, and this is absolutely my personal opinion, I think nothing beats a physical office. You cannot do what you do day in and day out,
Right.
in a virtual environment.
I
You
agree.
need the touch and feel. You need the emotional content between people. You need the people to work together, and that can only happen if you have a physical touch, have a coffee together, drop into somebody. You can't always say, we need to discuss this so everybody gets on the line.
Yes.
You can just pop into somebody's room and say, what do you think about this? You get an idea, and that's how things move.
True, true. I mean, this event today is also technologically enabled, right? But I think nothing takes away the fact that we're all sitting here together and the impact it's creating, I think it's phenomenal. So what are the areas where you foresee technology to bring ease, efficiency, and make the travel sector more resilient for the future?
Like we had done a study in India, and in most economies which has got a huge middle class, so what does the person want? What is his highest priority after, of course, buying a house? Is to travel abroad.
Yes.
So the excitement is there, and now, first it was a luxury, now it's become a necessity.
Correct.
And first people used to travel once in 3 years, once in 5 years. Now they want to travel 4 times a year. Okay, the whole rules of the game have changed. I think we can use technology, but it should be, again, an enabler. It should not create more work for the people that are traveling. Contactless travel, yes, possible. Through technology again, not only, we were talking about the tunnel that you can pass through, so you don't have to, go via immigration officer. Governments have started iris programs where you can actually just show your eyes and move.
Yes.
So you don't have to take out your passport.
Yes.
I think, from the time that you book your journey, if you can do your visa online, okay, there is a catch over there. How do you do your biometrics? So that's something that we need to figure out. But if you can do all the steps online, you get on the aircraft, you're using your phone, and you can use the same barcode,
Right.
To actually check into your room. So you can have that seamless experience, but it'll take time. For the reasons is there will be restrictions, and there will be security concerns always.
You talk about data security?
No,
Yeah.
physical security,
Yeah.
data security. See, data security, I still see it less because when you use technology, then there's no physical documentation lying around.
Correct. Yeah.
When there's no physical documentation lying around, you don't know whether documents are going to be lost or sold to somebody, for a price. But when it's technology enabled, and if you have the security measures and the parameters in place, then I would say there's less chances of data security than to have physical documentation roaming around.
Ambassador Suri, your thoughts on technology enabling travel from resilience and efficiency perspective?
India's embraced technology in a big way when it comes to travel. We introduced e-visas about 7 or 8 years back. And it was a blessing for us because it reduced the workload of a diplomatic mission, but more important, it reduced the harassment that or inconvenience that a traveler had to face with the delays of systems. Today, we pretty much assure that in 72 hours of your online application, you will get an e-visa. That facility is now available across, 130, 140 countries, something like that. That's an example. So if you are in London today and you want to travel to India, you don't need to go to the Indian High Commission to apply for a visa. You do get it by email in your inbox. The second thing that we've seen, again, as an enabler or a facilitator is on passports.
Right.
The fact that Government of India took the decision to outsource passport services to TCS meant that we finally had integrated systems. So today, you can actually, in our embassy in Abu Dhabi, in our consulate in Dubai, print out and issue a new passport to somebody who needs it, or renewal of a passport in less than 48 hours. And that in turn then makes it easier for people to, to travel.
Yes.
So I guess if you can make travel documents less painful to issue and to update and to revise, then it certainly helps.
Right.
The OCI card was again an innovation from an Indian perspective, a Government of India perspective, that if you are a dual, since we don't allow dual citizenship, if you have of Indian origin but have a foreign passport, then you get an OCI card, and for the rest of your life, you don't need a visa to travel back home to India.
Yes. So I will go to Mr. Karkaria here to get your thoughts in terms of outsourcing of technology, right? So what is your thoughts around how it's enabling this transformation in terms of, current travel and technology trends?
For example, let's take if somebody is coming from India to Dubai and he needs a visa, so he can go to the app that we have created on the phone. He can fill in the information, click his photograph, and upload it, and his visa will come back on his phone. If you're traveling to Thailand and if you need an e-visa, you can even do a premium service on your phone. Again, just click your photograph, fill in the form, and when you're boarding the flight, you can apply, and when you land, you would have the visa on your phone. So there are a lot of technology innovations that we have done with different governments.
Yes.
But again, it's different governments for different routes between high risk and low risk countries. So that's how they differentiate. Where they require physical documentation for security reasons, they would ask. Apart from that, even today when you're applying online and if you need assistance, you could have a chat box that gives you assistance to fill up your form, or it could be a person on the other side, who can assist you to fill up the form. So you don't have to worry about, will I be able to do this even if it is online? So supporting the technology is very important.
Yes.
And again, we discussed some time back about location-independent visa processing. More and more governments are shutting down their operations in countries and are trying to centralize the visa processing from a hub in the country of origin. There is a lot of advancement in technology on to make reduce costs, you reduce the risk of tampering, or you reduce also the risk of the local, what you call, issues that you may have when you're operating. So you reduce costs, you improve efficiency, and very, very important is also it becomes more secure. That the person who is giving the visa has no idea of who the other person who's applying. So there's no physical touch.
So this is the integrity of the process is completely maintained.
I think it's very important to understand in the visa or passport processing, it looks simple, but there's a lot of compliance, governance, security that goes behind this whole process. And that's very, very critical to this whole system.
So my next question is around, everything that has happened in the last couple of years, let's say. There's been a lot of impact on talk about health for right reasons, right? So for health considerations and focus on prioritizing safe travel, right? They expected to make international travel more sustainable. I'm sure you'll agree. So how is the industry shaping up to deal with this changing customer expectations?
I think we were probably quicker off the mark than most other countries when we had the COVID app developed.
Agree, yes.
And the fact that your vaccinations had a QR code, it was linked to the Aadhaar card, meant that there was a foolproof document that we were getting at a time when many other countries were still doing handwritten vaccination certificates.
True.
The second level, I think, where we did fairly well was in terms of working with WHO in getting approval for Covaxin. Because there was this whole concern that Covishield is, or AstraZeneca is approved by the WHO, but what about Covaxin as the indigenous vaccine? And so it took a fairly sustained conversation. So again, these are things that government tried to do, I think, in a very timely fashion,
right,
to be aware that you live in this new reality where your vaccination certificates, the integrity of those must be accepted by your interlocutors.
Correct.
And that meant showing them your system.
Anything that you'd like to add, Mr. Karkaria?
So what we created a system is straight from the lab, the document, whether it's positive or negative, the RT-PCR result, is picked up from the lab on a system that goes straight to VFS. VFS verifies it and sends it to the airline.
Right.
So what happens is you don't have to carry a paper. At the same time, the countries are assured in the bubble that there is no fraud taking place. At the same time, as a matter of convenience, we started offering RT-PCR tests to people that were applying for visas. So they could do that at our visa centers also.
I just read this morning, and Expedia has named 2022 as the year of the goat. So that I don't misspell, so it said year of the goat means greatest of all trips. So there definitely looks like there's a lot of change in trend coming in with this year, positively, right? So as per you, generically from travel and technology perspective, what are the future trends that you see?
As the IoT technologies develop, as 5G becomes a reality of our lives, you would probably have sensors on your baggage talking to your phone and saying, I'm there, why don't you pick me up from the baggage belt. You'll have Google Translate already there with you.
Yes.
So the fear of traveling in a foreign land and not being able to converse or communicate is probably going to be historic. Already today, the airlines have something called the Advanced Passenger Information.
Yes.
Right, API.
Yes.
But I think a key trend that I see, and we haven't spoken about that, is greater awareness of sustainability in travel. Ecological tourism is probably going to be more important. And we're going to be mindful of this, that, I want to go on a holiday, but do I leave the planet in a worse condition as a result of my holiday?
We take these things very seriously, not for the reason that it is required by the governments, but it has to be coming from within. The people from the visa centers, they should know how they're going to support in the carbon footprint targets that we have set. They should be able to know how we are going to manage the what we call 3 KPIs that we have set to arrive at environmental and governance side. So I think everybody in the organization, in their what we call MBOs, where they get their incentives or bonuses, they have a 7.5% equivalent to that for ESG.
That's wonderful.
And to achieve
Yeah.
the target. So it's not only me who has a ESG target, but everybody in the organization. At the end of the year, they would lose 7.5% of their bonus or incentive if they have not achieved the ESG target that is set for that city, that country, and for that visa center. We want to make sure that we take the right targets, which are measurable, which are implementable,
Right.
but across everybody, from top to bottom, they should have the control to be able to do this.
Well, I think we've been through a truly surreal period over the last 2 years.
Yes.
But it had its silver linings. When travel stopped, the air became cleaner. And I think it's important to find that golden mean.
Yes.
Where we remain respectful for the environment. We saw the impact with our own eyes when
Absolutely.
we stopped traveling.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying you have to stop traveling, but keep in mind that each time you do, there is an impact, and see whether we can choose modes of travel which are less impactful on the environment.
Be inspired. Festival of Ideas. An innovation can change the world. All we need is passion, focus, and a desire to help. If you have an innovation, please send it to us at whatever stage it is in. Our panel of experts will assess it and help propel it towards reality. The sky is your limit. Don't wait. Mail us your idea or innovative thought at beinspired@teamworkarts.com.